Linda Yraceburu, thank you so unbelievably much for being on Gutsy Chick Podcast. I am beyond honored to have you on because you're like my little secret. It's so exciting, especially coming off of our pilgrimage to Hawaii. You were one of the facilitators on that pilgrimage, and whew, I can't wait for our call on Friday with everybody to kind of debrief and go over how that experience has changed all of us. So thank you. Thank you for being on the Gutsy Chick
Uh,
podcast.
so welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. And yes, that I'm going through the pictures right now. And so yes, we get to relive and we're at the part where we're putting music to it. So it's pretty amazing. I'm very excited for Friday.
I've already seen a couple of the pictures and the ones that you captured of me and Grace. Just every time I look at them, I'm like, okay, that one's getting printed and putting on a wall.
Good.
But you are a phenomenal photographer,
Thank
but
you.
you're so much more than that. Rom Gypsy healer, Earth wisdom guide. Tell us tell us a little bit about who you are in those realms and then of course the photography piece.
Wow. Let's see who I am in those realms. With the photography, I have through my gypsy lineage, um, I was given the gift of dictation, the ability to hear Earth Mother speak what she would have us know. And so by giving offering and asking permission, either through Earth Mother or a dragonfly, depending on what I'm photographing in the moment, um, and asking permission to be allowed to be shown what they would have me know in that moment. And by just doing that, by slowing down and I see glimpses of light out of the corners of my eye and I get the urge to just take the picture. Don't always know where I am, not always in a safe place. And I yell for cars to stop in the middle of going through a big water rush way because that's the perfect picture. And I see portals and I see all this stuff in there. And I'm so in the moment with my photography. And that's what we get to do. And I'm not into too much into posy pictures. I don't do all that well with that. But I sure love to be in the moment.
You
Um,
you do a phenomenal job of capturing the moments.
yeah, thank
And
you.
s- some of the pictures that stand out for me when we did the Night of Fear on Melissa Seaman's land and you caught the fairy that came in while I was talking. That was magnificent. And then the picture of Grace and I sitting in ceremony just after I received my arrowhead, which was a phenomenal moment for me, for all of us, really. That that those are two of my favorite pictures. And then I love watching you do your selfies with your DSLR camera. And I'm going, okay, can I take a picture for you? And you're like, I got it.
I try not to be rude on that, so I am practicing saying yes, thank you.
Well, I got a good one of you
You did.
underneath a phenomenal, huge palm at the Hawaiian Botanic Gardens. And that one's a picture I treasure.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's a beautiful picture. We love it too. We also put that in our slideshow.
Yay.
We didn't put everybody's pictures in. There's a lot of pictures, and I personally took over 1,000. So, go figure. I can't put everybody's
6 day.
in, but there's is some things that I did put in from other people.
Yay.
Mostly what they took of me.
Right? Because you're always behind the camera.
Right. Right.
And that goes into you as a healer.
Yeah.
So a Ram Gypsy Shivani healer. What does that mean? And what does that entail when it comes to being a healer that's also a bruiser like me?
Well, let's see. A Ram Gypsy Shabani is a traditional healer, meaning that I have learned the ways of my people through my lineage and what they did as earth people to do healing because they were banished to a life on the road without really a place to call home, a spiritual home. So for them, it's all about how do you keep going when you're walking all the time, and when you're using your feet, and when you're using your body, and all the different things that work with that. And I got to have a really wonderful background in medicine as a cardiovascular X-ray technologist for about 15 years. And I got to learn to see. I was really good at just really cropping down to the organs or to the areas that we needed. So there wasn't a lot of scatter radiation or anything like that. Um, which came from my photography, which has been with me all of my life. And so from that, then I also started hearing ancestors give me their ways and just take me into just these deep dreams or these deep states where I'd be gone for hours and come back with Vas Pesh, hand walking, or come back with how would they take care of a cold if we were working that way? How would we take care of skeeter bites or, so they've given me a lot of different remedies, all organic, all herbal. And so with that, I've learned how to take the medical of the body, and because of what I can see and sense through that, I can see people's inner bodies just by looking at them or particularly feeling their hands. And I can really get a sense of, I do a whole scan on their hands and I'm usually able to figure out what's happening fairly easily. Um, and so from there, I met Maria, and she changed my life on a whole different level. And she has shown me, or actually, she gifted me her grandfather's healing modality and said, okay, here, I don't really understand this. So it was his whole, how he worked with the body, healing it on every level with the different snake lines. We call them snake lines. Most people will know them as meridians. We have an amazing chakra system. We call them Kyongs. We have 13 of them. They don't start at the bottom and work their way up. They start in the way that they were awakened. So our voice box is number one. Okay, our crown is number two, our heart is number three, our genitals is number four. So it snakes all the way around everything. And it is really wonderful because they have a smaller band to work with inside the body than some of the chakra systems, which has a much larger expansive thing. So it's pretty interesting. So I got to learn all about that, and that was a pretty extensive apprenticeship for many years. I still feel like I'm in it a lot with both my ancestors and both Maria's ancestors. And so, because you can always, move and improve and go with the flow. Um, and that kind of takes me to where I am today. Today I work with the hands and feet, and I can see in the hands, you can see past, present, future. You can see all kinds of things within the hands as far as your stress level. You can see how your heart's doing. You can look at the colors of your hand, and you can see if you have high blood pressure, if you're anemic, if your blood's not circulating. Um, and so just by how your digestion is, all of the organs, all of the systems are represented in the hand. And I work with the hand and share people how to create change quickly, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So you're able to create more of a whole body calm down and change. As long as I just go slow and work with people. I can do it that way, but as a bruiser, you think you can do a lot more than you possibly probably could or should. And for me, I just in the beginning, I thought I could heal everybody. Boy, was
Tell me
that
more.
quite a lesson to learn because you can't heal everybody because you're all there's so many different types of healers out there that not everybody is for you and you're not for everybody. And so that's kind of the first step. Are we for each other, on
Right.
some other things? So, so I am, that's what I work with. I work with the hands and then with the feet. The feet are one of the major gates in our bodies. Both our hands and our feet are gates. So it's a major place where you receive energy and you're given energy. With the hands, and the feet, we receive energy through the left hand and through our arm, and we bring that through our heart center. This is one circuit, and we bring it and we release that energy through our right hand. So, which makes things pretty easy. So we can even work with hot flashes and cold flashes by just holding your fingers and waiting for pulses to balance. So it takes only, 5 minutes maybe, depending on what you have going on to at least balance yourself. Doesn't necessarily always help or prevent huge things, but it works well and coincide in if you had surgery. You can work your hands and you can circulate the energy out so that any of the medication or any of um, the anesthetist medicine that they give you, you can work your way out of it a lot easier. And if you're going into surgery because you've had an accident or something, we can work with you real quick. I can work with you through the airwaves, and maybe then we can give you a miracle and not have a broken neck because you've moved the energy fast enough to where it hasn't set in. Or if it is broken, it's not in the same kind of way. So we also include prayers in our healing, and we just include everything that we can naturally to work with the body in a quick, easy, balanced way.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, let's go back to the Kyongs versus the chakras. You mentioned chakras start at the base of your major body and work their way up, but with Kyongs, they go in a different order, and it's based off of what again?
It's based on, excuse me, on how they were awoken, on each Kyong, how evolutionally, how they came about. And
And
so
throat is first.
the throat is first because we need to speak our intent to manifest that which we desire or don't desire. This is where how we flourish, or if we can't have our voice, we don't flourish. Okay.
Yes. Yes. I
So
love
it's a
that.
very important Kyung, and it works with this whole area in front.
In front. Okay, because when you think about chakras, you're thinking about that's at the midline if we turn sideways and look down the body. So from that particular Kyong, it's front side of the throat.
Well, with that Kyung and with all Kyungs, they come out front, back, and side.
Okay.
Okay. Kyung one is here for our throat.
So like north, south, east, west.
Correct.
Woo. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So the energy of that Kyung, it's right here.
Mhm.
It goes up to the mouth, it goes down to the throat, comes out to the side, and it goes back. So it actually has a vertebrae, which is C3 or the
Oh, it goes.
cervical 3. So,
Yeah.
so if your vertebrae is out where that is, then you're going to have symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we can do or help do is to adjust that neck back into its place. Or if we can't totally adjust it back in, we can get you out of pain enough to where you can get to the chiropractor or whatever other practice you are working with and fully get that taken care of.
Nice. acupuncture, chiropractor. Are there any other modalities that you refer people out to when it comes to just this particular scenario?
I do I really really like people to work as holistically as they can. However,
Me too.
we're all on our own path, and that doesn't work for everybody, and I have no judgment about that. That's okay. We just I will suggest firmly. I just talked to I've been working with a client who is really losing it on a lot of levels. And I'm like, you know what? I can help you only so much. We need to work with your nutrition. We need to work with your supplements. And I need you to work with a chiropractor.
Hmm.
And she had insurance for medical,
Of
which is
course.
many times the problem.
Yep.
They're going to what they can afford.
Yep.
I get that.
Same.
But this time she broke out and she did go to a chiropractor. And she has made so much movement from there since she's done this that he's her new best friend.
Yay.
And that's cool. And that's, so that she does her Vas Pesh. She does these two lines, the heart line and the lifeline every day, left hand and right hand. So she's bringing in the energy that she needs to fill her body. And then she's releasing that which no longer serves her body. So
Mm,
we want to bring that energy in first before you deplete and release the energy that's there.
nice.
So yeah, so then the reason why I said front is mainly because of the throat,
Hmm.
but in back, there is right at the occiput where the head and the neck come together.
Hmm.
Back there, that's Kyong 8, and that's
Oh,
called Pung Bu. And Pung Bu is all about that medulla oblongata and right at the brain stem. Okay. So that whole plate back there, the whole occiput could go out, shift either way. So C1 is the corresponding um,
vertebrae.
vertebrae for that
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so that
Mm.
then brings into the fifth Kyong, which is the third eye. Okay, so that's our projector screen where we're viewing, bringing in that vibrations and putting out that vibrations. We're seeing our path. What does that look like? Are we able to see our path? Is that eye open? And we've got our crown up here,
Hmm.
which is the second Kyong, and that's opening up to spirit. So if our Kyongs are out of whack, and they can be out in any direction, it's going to take the corresponding Kyong's out with it.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to just have one spot. Same with
Exactly.
chakras.
It's yes, because it's all connected.
It's all connected. It's all
Shockingly, it's all connected.
connected.
You brought this up relative to your radiography uh, profession, where we have to dial in Western medicine to one organ, and that's all we're looking at, or one bone, or right. And if we do radiography, if we do X-ray on someone, and we're doing a much bigger picture of them, that's either too much information for the doctor or we get weird things showing up because of the way x-ray works.
Yes, and it's giving radiation to where you do not need.
Yeah, that too.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
That's really huge because, on some levels I get what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand. You do not get the whole picture. You get one
Unfortunately.
section,
Yep.
unfortunately. Um, that's why I like to hold people's hands and scan their hands because I can really tell. I can
Right.
give you a whole picture just by looking at you and stuff like that. Um, but um, I did end up with radiation poisoning, and it's not a fun one to work through. And I have some other birth gifts that I work with
Mm-hmm.
as well within my body, and so it ultimately helped me along within my practice um, because I have a really much better understanding now of and I can visualize and I can see without the radiation affecting me or them.
Yeah. You and I both have similar practices where we're able to see the whole picture.
Mhm.
I want to go back to that. First, let's talk about Vas Pesh because we talked about the Kyongs and how that's close to or similar to chakras. Vas Pesh, when I first heard this, I was like, okay, this is like reflexology. And if we go back to the scenario where we've got the throat responding and it's shooting through to C3 in the neck, when it comes to the feet, I'm going to the outer edge. No, it's the inner edge. That's right. The inner edge to respond to the spine because the foot shape
Yeah,
matches the spine shape.
right.
But Vaspesh, we don't have that same thing on our hands when it comes to the spine, do we? Or is it outer?
But we do. We
We
do.
do.
Okay.
Give it to
So
me.
the inner part, which would be the toe, the big toe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this represents the head, the neck, the shoulders, the upper back. This where it kind of bounces out a little bit. That's the hips. Comes down to the tailbone. If you could imagine a little fetus, okay, like this, you can basically get a short picture of where the organs are. Okay, so we have the head, the neck, the back, the butt, tailbone.
Yep.
Now, if you take it, and so in with that, you can see the lungs and the heart, and there's a lot of different places that represent the bowel over
Mm-hmm.
here. Now we take that and we flip that over. We flip that baby over. So we have um, a a
Mirror image.
mirror image. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mirror image of that, and we can see the twins. So this is called the lifeline. Comes around here.
Mm-hmm.
Most palmists will tell you that it goes from here to here.
Yep.
My ancestors say no, it goes all the way around
Yes.
because it's the full circle of life.
Yes.
So we have to stimulate that whole thing, not just part of it. Okay? So then we can um, do the back walk. So I call this walking your back. It's a back strap. And from here to the tailbone is represents the back strap, which is one of the longest muscles in the body that
Yep.
goes from the neck all the way down to the tailbone. Okay? So we can just, I call it walking, but it's a press and we're not pinching, we're pressing. And we start up here, we can start down here as well. Start down at the tailbone, you're starting down at the hips. So we're just kind of palpating a little bit, rubbing it around, giving it some pressure. The hand can handle pressure, but not a lot of sharp pressure. So you can see, like right down here, if you're just going right here, is it sore there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you work your way up, is here. So in the hips, a lot of people have arthritis in their hips. So it's going to be really sore. It's going to be maybe blue. So that shows no circulation throughout the body. We can also tell if you're dehydrated just by looking at the color of your hand. Right?
As I look at mine going, I already know that one.
That's a red and white modeled all throughout the hand. That
As
means
we
you're
all
at least,
grab our water.
yeah, you're at least a quart low. So here's to you.
As soon as you said it, I'm going, oh yeah, I am
Oh
white
yeah,
and
that.
splotchy.
Okay, so then once we get up here, and if it's been sore and it's kind of crunching and bunching along, then we pull the thumb,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna just wrap our hand around it and keep our thumb here and pull. Now what we're doing now is we're adding traction to that side of your vertebrae, of your spine, and we're pulling it out many times, particularly if once your body gets that you are understanding its language that it's trying to tell you. You can adjust here, which is right here at the neck, which is a very difficult place to adjust
Mm-hmm.
on the body because of the way the shoulders and the neck is,
Yep.
and it will adjust this whole shoulder area. So if you're walking around, gimping with shoulder hanging on the ground, like I've done so many times, um, just want to pull that out and stretch it. That's my little bruiser thing, right?
It
Had to
is
get that in
that
there.
is such a bruiser moment for you and me. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Just keep going, just keep going. Okay. So, anyhow, then you can get an adjustment out of that.
Oh man.
You might be able to adjust down here and you'll feel your tailbone or your hips moving and adjusting a little bit. So, if this is really sore and sensitive, do it a couple times. Break it up 3 times. And by the time you're done breaking this up, rub your hands a little bit so you're circulating the energy. And the next thing you know, you get up and your pain will be much less.
Okay, so those of you who are in your cars right now, don't do this while you're driving because
Don't
you
do it
need
while
two
you're
hands.
driving. Yeah, you can't do it while you're driving.
But go home and give it a roll. Especially I've been experiencing some low back stuff. My husband's been experiencing some mid back shoulder stuff, and as I'm doing this to myself, I'm already feeling shifts.
Yeah.
And I know. I've studied with you, Linda, on Vas Pesh, and you teach this to people online,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How can they learn from you? When are you teaching next?
Right now, I'm teaching with Bridges.com Academy, and I currently do not have a next date up there, just because I've been doing a lot of traveling and things. But it should be up around between May and June. I'll be back onto that, and we can get you a note out there for that. So,
Learning this gift, it's one of the tools that I love because as a healer, you can't heal yourself. There's too many barriers of entry to heal yourself, but this is one of the tools that I use when things are going sideways to work on myself. And I love learning it. I've learned reflexology before. I know a couple of the points in my hands, a couple of the points in my feet, but then learning this, it just built on top of that knowledge and reinforced what I knew there, but then took it to a whole nother level.
right.
That's what I love about Vas Pesh.
Yeah, Vas Pesh is just different enough from reflexology.
Yep.
Reflexology, we're pressing on those points.
Yep.
With with Vas Pesh, we're moving that energy.
Walking it.
So yes, so that's why how we get hand walking.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm walking my hands, I'm walking my heart line. Okay, and heart line helps with grief, it helps with anger, uh, um, it helps with anemia, it helps with breathing. There's a lot of things that, so if you're just kind of just doing that on your left hand in the morning and throughout the day, also helps with communication. So if you're having a meeting with somebody and it's not a good going easy, just put your hands in your lap and work your heart line, your left heart line. So you're giving yourself that really good energy. And then work your lifeline. And we're always going in. And the lifeline, you want to go all the way around because it is the full circle of life, but that's circulating the energy. So when we're in a lot of pain, our body is having a lot of pain and discomfort, that represents your energy is not moving along. So just by moving that energy within the lifeline, you're able then to release that pain and discomfort,
Mm.
along with water and, salt. And you just got to one step yourself along, one step, one step.
One
And
step, one step.
that's an important one.
I
And
love that.
the KISS method, keep it simple, sweetie.
Yes. Okay, let's go to one step and relate this back to the bruiser. So, Linda, you're one of my clients, but you're also one of my teachers. And when you said one step, my brain went, well, that's not how I work because I'm a bruiser. And then I learned that you were a bruiser. Where did one step come from?
One step for me came from when I was working in the hospital. And we had to wear these huge lead aprons, and it was just a lot of work. And I I'm not a fast bruiser. My speed is, slow.
Yeah.
Just because that's who I am and that's how I can work with myself. And so, um, at first I would get down on myself for being slow and not really, I was really trying to still push, push, push. And when I push like that, I get myself in trouble. I fall, I hurt myself or something. And
No.
so it's just, for me, I started saying it back then. I just go one step, and I can get it done. And so many years later, one of my teachers said, "Well, Linda, you're always going one step." And I said, "Yeah, but one step doesn't necessarily mean baby steps, you
Mm.
know? Depending on what galaxy I'm in that day, sometimes I'm taking gigantic steps.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the time, I go back to my one step, one step. But I'm not saying the size or the length of my step. So for me as a bruiser, I was still within my boundaries of what I knew I could or needed or wanted to do. And I could be okay with that without judgment on myself because, you know, I don't know about you, but for me, I at one time could judge myself pretty harshly. And
That's a practice.
yeah, yeah. And so it's something that I've really had to work on throughout the years is to release the judgment of myself and others.
Yep.
But I'm working with myself first, and then it can blossom out.
It's interesting you say that because it was the other way around for me. I was I was in an environment where judgment was constant. And as
Hmm.
athlete, you there's a level of judgment that needs to happen in order to do the sport. But I stopped the external judgment first and then
Interesting.
had to do the internal judgment work. And that is still an ongoing process.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. A lot of times it's better
Yes, exactly.
you
And
know, yeah. And
and
so
keep
then,
going.
yeah, and keep going.
Yep. One step, one step.
That's right. I'm still doing
Absolutely.
it. I'm
Exactly.
still accomplishing things. I'm stepping
Exactly.
along.
As a bruiser, we tend to push ourselves beyond our limit. And I love that you said with one step, with that reminder, you could stay within your bounds. You could stay within control of your stuff. And that right there just tells me you've leveled up your bruiser, which is necessary because
True story.
as a bruiser on the risk side of things, you just blow through. And as a bruiser on the safe side of things, you've learned that lesson and you can see it in others and you can help them with that. And that's one thing that I know you've been helping me with is seeing like, okay, you pushed yourself too far, bring it back, get grounded. We had to do that a couple of times in Hawaii. But it's just that wisdom of being in one step, and kiss, keep it simple, silly.
Sweetie.
That sweetie, yes, I say silly, you say sweetie.
I was told stupid, so
Yeah,
we're
me
both
too.
doing good on that one.
Exactly. And
It's just
as a
not stupid. That stupid
no.
isn't simple.
Yes, truth. I was taught keep it simple, stupid as an engineer
Yeah.
because that's the lane that you have to stay in as an engineer is keeping it simple. And learning like saying stupid takes you out of the energetic flow of what you're
Yeah.
really trying to accomplish,
Yeah.
even as an engineer.
Yeah. I heard it at one of the old nurses, army nurse when I was just
Oh yeah.
starting out in the hospital work, and I don't even know what I did, but she was just, so old and so bitter and angry she needed to retire. Um, but this day she didn't, and so she said I did something and she says, "Hey, keep it simple, stupid, don't you know? Kiss." And I'm like, and it just scared the shit out of me. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh no. There's no stupid about it. It's sweetie. And ever since then, so 40 years ago, 45 years ago is when that one came to my life is no, no.
Yeah,
Stupid isn't simple, and you got to say it with so the words flow, and so your little kid inside you want to do, wants to move on. But
exactly.
my little kid heard that, and she's like, "Oh, oh no, that lady scares me. Keep her away from me." No, it was like, no.
Exactly. Exactly. As as someone who's trained as an engineer, you consider yourself one of the smarter people, right? And there's an ego that plays into that. And as soon as you hear the word stupid, that's a slam. And my ego's like, you're getting the middle finger on that one, buddy. Not the stay away, but the I'm gonna
Yeah,
fight you.
yeah.
Welcome to my bruiser.
Right.
Oh, Linda, it has been such a pleasure to learn more about the Kyongs, learn more about Vas Pesh, learn more about your history and how you've become the bruiser healer that you are. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really an honor and a privilege to spend some time with you today.
Always. It's always.
Always.
Mwah. Love you.
I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.
Yay! You made it to the end of the episode. Good job. Now, go share this with your friends. Go like, subscribe, leave me a review. Let me know that you like what's happening here on the Gutsy Chick Podcast. And if you're a female high performer with mysterious chronic health condition, go check out the Gutsy Chick quiz so you can find out what might be holding you back from healing. And if you want more on what I do with my clients and my blog and any podcasts that I've been a guest on, go to bodywhisperhealing.com. Thanks for listening.